Editing Tavernkeep here. We're just going to throw in a small content warning. There may be a bit of body horror, nothing too graphic, but this is a post-apocalyptic survival game. So there's mutations, a bit of body horror, hallucinations, that kind of stuff. So if you're really sensitive about that kind of stuff, maybe skip this episode. None of it is too graphic. None of it is too much. I personally am not a big fan of huge amounts of gore and that kind of stuff. So just go in with the right headspace. Hello and welcome to the Golden Wheel Tavern. It's so good to see you all again. I appreciate every one of you who shows up, whether you're a newcomer or a returning visitor. I appreciate every one of you. Now, this is another Minisode, although judging by the length of the last one, mini might be a little strong of a term, but it is just going to be me, the Tavernkeep, today. No bartender today. Reasons are their own, but no bartender today. Don't worry, they'll be back soon enough. Trust me. I wouldn't be doing this show if it was just me from now on. Today, we're doing another little solo TTRPG adventure, as we did last time. This one, the system is called Darling Among the Dust. It is a post-apocalypse survival game. The odds are against us, and it's likely we die. So, we'll see what happens. But before we get to that, we have a couple things to cover. First and foremost, thank you for all your support. Thank you for all the listeners. If you want to show the love, show the support, and help the podcast grow, help turn it into something bigger and better, the best way you can do that is the social medias. As we've covered before, social media, word of mouth, stuff that grows the podcast is the most important thing right now. That is what we need for support. Yes, there are financial channels through which you can support us. If you really want to do that, go back and listen to previous episodes, check the links below, so on and so forth. But right now, the thing that'll help us the most is spreading the word and getting the listenership up. Getting the word out there that you really like what we're doing, you really like our normal episodes. Maybe if you really like the minisodes, you can let us know and we'll do more of those, so on and so forth. Really, the best thing you can do is get the word out there. That's what we appreciate more than anything else, and we appreciate every one of you who listens, because you're part of the people that keep the torches burning here in the Golden Wheel Tavern. Now, on to our next segment, which we didn't have last minisode, which is the Tavernkeep's Tastemaker, rather than the Bartender's Brew. This one, I'm calling the Root of All Poor Decision. Play on Root of All Evil. Not really based on a character. Maybe next time I do one of these, I'll base it off of one of the characters from the minisodes we've done. But this one it's essentially a Moscow Mule using absinthe rather than vodka. So it's an ounce of absinthe, an ounce of lime juice, 2 droppers worth of rhubarb bitters, some ginger beer, and toss it all in a mule cup. It is dark, it is earthy, rooty, very much has that black licorice root flavor to it, but the lime juice and the slight sweetness of the ginger beer brighten it up a little. So it's vibrant, but it's very rooty and almost herbal in a way. It's pretty good. I really enjoy it. Now, on to our game for today, which is Darling Among the Dust. Double check. Oh, sorry. I'm pronouncing it wrong. It's Darling Amongst the Dust. I will read you the short opening paragraph. You are the darling. All around you, skyscrapers and buildings remain like shed exoskeletons. Vines trail up the sides of structures, tendrils penetrating their interiors through blown-out windows. You are alone. Your muscles had strained as you pushed open the door of the fallout shelter. You hid, safe and sequestered in a prison of your own making until your dwindling supply of food pushed you to emerge. Now you pass from city to city, searching for any sign that you are not the last of humanity. So, post-apocalypse post-apocalypse survival game. The randomness in the game is generated by a deck of cards and in theory a Jenga tower, but they do have an alternative rule which I'm using, which is the countdown dice. So it starts at 30, counts down, and then once you reach 12, things start getting real dire and there's a chance you just die. If the tower falls, you die, and if the task says you die because of some consequence, you die. We're going to be trying to survive as long as possible, and there is a way to make it out, but from what I've read through this system, you're unlikely to make it out alive. Similar to last system, this is a journaling game. So what I'm going to be doing is figuring out the events of the day and then describing to you what the character I will be playing will do during that day. Speaking of character, let's go ahead and create a person. Mike? I don't want to do Michael. Johnathan Stanton. And we'll just go with the name for now. We'll build them out as the story progresses, because there are situations that will hearken to Jonathan's past. Just for everyone's awareness, standard deck of cards, jokers removed. 6-sided die is used quite often. There are tokens, but I will just be using like dice with numbers on them to mark the number of tokens. A Jenga or tumbling block tower, instead I'm using the countdown dice variation, and something to write in such as a notebook or word processor. I'm actually going to go ahead and just record my quote-unquote journal entries. Each day in the darkness, we'll have 2 steps. Step 1, the tasks, which is where the D6 comes in. You roll that and draw that number of cards from the deck, placing them face down. Flip the first card. It'll tell you what the task is, which is usually sort of a writing prompt. Then you flip over the next card, do that, flip over until you're out of all the cards, and then you discard all the cards unless a card tells you otherwise. So some cards you will set aside. Then you will record your day in your journal. That will be what I narrate to you. And then we will move on to the next day. Important note, when setting up the tower or the countdown dice, start by rolling a d6. And then you would either pull that many blocks from the tower or reduce the countdown by that number. So although the countdown started at 30 before we've even started, the countdown is at 27, representing the struggles and degradation of my body and of myself due to being exposed to post-apocalypse problems. Now that we have everything set up, the deck of cards, the D6, the countdown tower, and my character Johnathan Stanton's name, let's begin. An easy day for Johnathan. Queen of Diamonds. You wake with blood in your eyes. The tumorous growths that have been slowly protruding from either side of your forehead have finally erupted. In their place, they leave hard mounds of branching bone. Do you try to remove them? Do you wish to? Even if you do you have what it takes to saw through your own being? Pull from the tower. So, since I'm pulling from the tower, the countdown timer reduces by 1. Day 1. It has been a strange day today. I've been worried about the growths on the side of my head, and, well, I no longer have to worry about them. Now I have to worry about growing horns. I didn't even know radiation could do this. Why would it be horns? Hopefully, this doesn't grow into anything more. Now we move on to day 2. First is going to be the Jack of Clubs. It's been so long since you've heard your own name. When you stop to think about it for a moment, you realize that you can't quite remember it. Do you mourn the loss, or is this freeing? And the second task is going to be the Jack of Diamonds. Your gums are racked with disease and your teeth begin to fall out one by one. When you poke at the spongy flesh, you can feel something growing underneath, something sharper, something more dangerous. Both of those required a pull from the tower, meaning my tower is down to 24. Does the new advantage feel worth the change? Is there any part of you that feels grateful? Pull from the tower. Day 2. I woke this morning to a strange feeling that I had forgotten something. forgotten something important, that I had changed or that something was left behind. As I went throughout the day, I thought about those I had known before this event and realized I can't quite remember what they called me, what my name was. I feel saddened by the realization that I am slowly forgetting who I am, and it seems that's also physical. My teeth and gums, were falling apart. It's hard to find citrus fruit in the radiated wasteland. I assumed it was scurvy that was slowly destroying my gums. Now that I feel at my own gums, there's something growing underneath. It feels like I'm changing between the horns on my head and the fangs in my mouth. Maybe it might help me survive, but if I can't remember my own name, can I even really survive as me? On to day 3. Another 2. First instance of the day is a 5 of clubs. You remember a recurring nightmare that you had as a child. In the dream, you are a deer pursued by hunters until you are shot with an arrow and your still beating heart is ripped out of your chest cavity. Since remembering, you have had trouble sleeping, afraid that the dream will return. What brings up the memory? Do you think it's just a coincidence that you're remembering this now? Pull from the tower. Countdown timer is at 23. And second instance I'll be writing about today is the Ace of Hearts. Okay, the Ace of Hearts is actually a very special one, because I believe Ace of Hearts is what unlocks your path to the end. Ace of Hearts, in all your travels, you have never come across a single sign that there's anyone other than you still remaining, but there's undeniable proof right in front of you. A spent campfire several days old, but clearly once made with purpose. Rubble dragged around it in several makeshift seats. You are not as alone as you feared. It won't be easy to follow their trail, but you have to try. What would you risk to not be alone? This is one of the cards that you do not discard but simply set aside, and you place 10 counters on it, 10 tokens, which I'm going to simply mark with a D20 set to 10. At the end of each day, after writing in your journal, roll a D6. On a result of 6, remove a token from the card. When you remove the last token from the card, make a final pull from the tower, and then there are results for if the tower stands or if the tower falls. So I awoke this morning frightened, scared, afraid. A dream had returned to me, a dream that hadn't visited me since I was a child. I was a deer traveling through a field, happy, pleasant, joyful, when all of a sudden a cracking noise in the distance. Not like someone stepping on a branch, but louder, more resonant. A gun being fired, the bullet piercing me straight through my core. I collapse, wounded, suffering, when these 2 figures dressed head to toe in camouflage, their faces covered, walk up to my still alive corpse and cut it open. I'm still suffering as they pull my beating heart from my chest. I don't think I'll be finding any sleep tonight. I think this dream came back to me as a sign of what might happen now that I have these horns and these teeth. What if I do find somebody? What if I do find the people whose campsite I found, whose makeshift seating I found, whose path I'm now trying to follow? What if I find them and they hunt me like the deer in my dreams? On to day, first we have to roll for possibly following their path. That is a 5, so I do not follow the path. Today's a 6-card day though. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Day 4 was a very busy day. First, the King of Diamonds. It is requiring more and more food to keep you fed, so bigger and bigger creatures need to become your prey. You are ravenous and you find yourself snarling at minor inconveniences more often than not. It is only a matter of time before you take on a fight you can't win. Do not discard this card, set it aside where you can see it. 4 of Spades. You come across a nest with 3 perfectly round eggs. The protein they provide will be welcome, but it hints towards the presence of an unaccounted for creature. What sort of creature do you think provided the eggs? No pulls from the tower yet today. That's good. But I'm becoming more violent and I found strange eggs. 5 of Spades means I find a source of water. The liquid soothes your cracked lips and you drink until you are ill. Do you think that this water is truly safe to drink? Pull from the tower. Countdown timer is at 22. So I've become more aggressive, found strange eggs, and found a water source. 4 of clubs. Voices echo on the breeze. You have not seen any evidence of humans in this area, yet you hear their pleading. What do they ask of you? Do you listen? Okay, so I hear distant voices that I cannot place. 2 of diamonds is your shoes have been worn to tatters and they no longer give your feet any protection. You discard them and find that the calluses on the bottom of your feet have hardened into something else similar to bone. Do you pay this any mind? Do you try to replace your shoes? And the last event of the day is a 6 of hearts. While digging through the rubble of a building to see what supplies you find a broken picture frame. It depicts a smiling family, and it must have once sat on someone's desk. What do you think happened to your family? How often do you think of them? Day 4. These changes, these horns, these teeth, something's changing out here, and it's me and it's the world around me. I find myself becoming ravenous, becoming hungry. I have as much food as I need. I know that, but something tells me I need more. I couldn't stop myself from taking the eggs I found, perfectly spherical. There's nothing in this region that lays perfectly spherical eggs. There's something new here, and honestly, I shouldn't be taking these. What if they're poisonous? What if they're deadly? What if the creature tries to find me? I took them anyways, and then I found a source of water, and I couldn't stop myself from drinking until my stomach felt as though it was going to burst, and I felt ill. I wasn't even sure that it was safe to drink. But I kept drinking anyways. Maybe it was the water. Maybe it's what's going on. I'm haunted by voices. I'm haunted by pleading from a distance. Nothing distinct, nothing sensical. They're asking to go to the ice cream shop or go to the pet store. They're asking if they can spend another just 10 more minutes on the playground. It doesn't make sense. There aren't any people here right now. I know because I'm following the trail of people who were here days ago. Maybe it's the changes. Hopefully they're beneficial. I don't need shoes anymore. My calluses on the bottom of my feet have become harder than any callus. They're more like bone or nail or hoof. Still looking for shoes to replace them. I can't walk up to other humans with hoofed feet and horns upon my head and fangs in my mouth. I don't want to be the deer in my dreams. I want to be me. I want to be as happy as that family I saw in that picture frame I found. I want to be as happy as I believe my family to be when I think of them almost every day. I want to be as happy as I think they are in the afterlife, whatever there is beyond the veil. I just want to be happy. Now we roll the d6 and see if I make any progress. That is a 4. I do not make any progress. Finding my way to the people. 1. Fairly simple day today. I almost discarded the king. That stays there. Queen of Spades. You wake up gagging and find that a vine nearby has thrust itself down your throat as you slept. You are able to cut the vine from its mother, and you now rip the bloody intruder out from deep within you. How do you prevent this from ever happening again while you sleep? Pull from the tower. Down to 21. Day 5. I usually save these journal entries for the end of the day, but I'm writing this now as I am choking and coughing on my own damaged throat and lungs. I woke up this morning to find that a nearby plant had decided that my airways were a perfect spot to reach into. Fortunately, my supplies were nearby and I was able to cut the vine free from its host, and I was able to suffer through the pain ripping it out from my own lungs. Felt like I was ripping out my lungs themselves. Maybe I did. Maybe I no longer have lungs. Maybe that's the next mutation that occurs. From now on, I'm gonna have to wear a mask or cover my mouth in some way as I sleep. I can't have this happen again. I can't risk it. I'll need to find some fabric and lay it over my entire face. What if it crawls up my nose? I'll need to find like a motorbike helmet and sleep with that. I guess that's what I'm doing. If I find a motorbike helmet, it's my new sleeping cap. Great. And end of the day, 3, I make no progress. Next day is a 5 day. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First event of the day is a 4 of diamonds, diamonds being mutations. The light of the sun becomes torture on your increasingly sensitive eyes. You find yourself sleeping during the day and moving about at night. When was the last time you felt the warmth of the sun? Did you know it would be your last time? Queen of Hearts. As you walk through the desolate streets, you come across a newspaper stand. While largely destroyed, a few papers remain from the day you entered your bunker. The front page reports on soaring inflation, but nothing to indicate the impending disaster. How did you know it was time to enter your bunker? Did you try to get other people to come with you? Why didn't they believe you? And crossed out, for aesthetic purposes, why didn't you try harder? Pull from the tower. We are down to 20. Next event is the King of Hearts. While scavenging through a destroyed dollar store, you come across various supplied and canned foods. You'll have to pry open the cans with your knife, but it will be worth it. You've lived so long off the land, hunting the twisted creatures that roam, that the idea of an old can of creamed corn makes tears well up in your eyes. Canned goods are known for their shelf life, and you admit you don't know much about food safety, but any taste of the before times is worth the potential sickness. Do not discard this card. Set it aside where you can see it. Queen of Clubs. I'm gonna run out of queens. As you sleep, you dream of hunting. Your heart pounds, the adrenaline courses through your veins. You dream of wrenching flesh from bone, the scent of iron filling the air. When you awake, there's fur between your teeth and still drying blood on your chest. What do you do when you wake to find yourself in this state? Do you try to go about your day as normal? Pull from the tower. We're at 19. 7 of Spades. Something has clearly been rooting around in your campsite while you were away. Your supplies have been strewn around, some destroyed with teeth and claw marks. Massive footprints lead away from the camp. Do you go through the hassle of moving your campsite, or stay and risk the creature coming back? Pull from the tower. We are down to 18. Day 6, 7, 5. I'm keeping this journal, but I know I can refer back and see that today's day 6, but honestly I can't even keep track of the days anymore. It's all unraveling around me. Especially now I can't even bear to look at the sunlight. I can't even bear to be outside during the day. It burns my eyes. I've been sleeping during the day and moving about at night. I've been hunting at night, which, I mean, if I can find where certain creatures are sleeping, makes them real easy prey, but I didn't know that the last time I felt the sun on my skin, it'd be the last time. I think the last time I felt the sun on my skin, I was complaining about it. Last time I really enjoyed the warmth of the sun was far too long ago. I haven't enjoyed the warmth of the sun since the before times. I prefer to write these in the order they happened throughout the day, and the realization of the sun came early. It is not nearly the most impactful thing that happened today, but it's what happened first. What happened after was I found a newsstand. In fact, I found a small section of relatively undestroyed city. Compared to everything else, this would be in mint condition. Compared to average everyday life, it was abandoned, desolate, and destroyed. But I came across a newspaper stand and found few newspapers from the day I entered my bunker. Of course, daily news, inflation soaring, and nothing else. A celebrity fluff piece about the health benefits of garlic. That was the day that I hid myself underground. I knew it was coming. I could see the signs. I awoke from sleeping with a thought in my head, it's coming, it's arriving today, the doomsday, it's now. I tried to get people to come with me, and, well, they didn't believe me because this wasn't the first time I'd gone to my bunker on this sort of occasion. It was a boy who cried wolf scenario, but this time there really was a wolf. There really was, and maybe I shouldn't have gone to the bunker at all. Also, in this destroyed and decrepit town, I found a dollar store with various supplies and canned foods. I'm eating well tonight. Who knows if I'll end up sick because of it, but hey, creamed corn's creamed corn, right? Might as well dig in. Unfortunately, my new form apparently doesn't appreciate creamed corn. As I started to drift off to sleep, I dreamt of hunting, chasing down, wrenching flesh from bone, really tearing into something. I then awoke like I had fallen in my dream and was startled awake to find blood on my chest and fur in my mouth. Maybe these are the changes at play. Maybe I was hunting with something. When I had awoken, I noticed that my camp, so many of the supplies were missing, were gone, were taken from me, and there were these huge huge footprints leading away from my camp. My supplies were destroyed with teeth and claw marks. There was no more creamed corn or canned spinach or anything along those lines. It had all been destroyed. I have to move my campsite. I have to keep moving or else I'll never find the people. Who knows if they'll even accept me, but I'll never find them if I don't keep moving. Hopefully I can get there and they can toss me in a cell and keep me well fed. I'm afraid of what might happen if they don't. I have successfully made progress on their trail. 4. A 2 of spades. Creatures have begun to become silent when you walk by. You were used to the hum of insects, the call of birds, the riotous sounds of creatures surrounding you. They helped make up for the absence of car horns, general chatter, and speakers blaring. Now there is only silence. What do you think caused the change? Ace of spades. You are able to track your prey to the edge of the city. It's large, and although you've never seen anything like it before, it will provide food for several days if you manage to make the kill. With deft feet, you stalk towards the prey, and at the last moment you drag your knife through its throat. How do you feel as the creature's life is snuffed out? And aces are benefits. Do not discard this card, set aside where you can see it. If you've also drawn the ace of hearts, you can remove a token when you roll a 5 or 6 at the end of the day. 9 of hearts. While scavenging for supplies, the rubble underneath you gives way and you plunge a great distance before you hit the ground. Your ankle takes the brunt of the impact with a sickening crack. How do you cope with your injury? How do you get yourself to safety? Pull from the tower. We're at 17 now. And 8 of diamonds. One of your senses is much better than it used to be. Which sense is it? How do you use this to your advantage? Okay. Day 7. The creatures have rendered themselves silent as I walk by. They hide and fade into the woods around me, into whatever shelter they can find as soon as they detect my approach. When I first emerged from my prison, from what should have been my tomb, there were animal sounds all around. They weren't afraid anymore because there weren't any car horns or semi-trucks barreling down the road. Now as I walk, things go silent around me. I think I caused this. I think whatever I am is causing this. The creatures, they're more afraid of me than they were of any normal human. I was able to chase down and track down some huge prey, a large, terrifying bird with razor-sharp teeth in its maw, but it'll provide food. This strange creature in a strange land, not too dissimilar from myself. Strange, unknown, heretofore unseen. I feel sad as I kill it, but I have to survive. I have to make it. If I don't, what was the point? What was the point of the shelter? What was the point of going through all of this? What was the point of searching through rubble only to fall and shatter my ankle? I now have a cane I'm using as a makeshift crutch until I can find something. I'm barely making it anymore, but God, I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. And I know I'm trying so hard. My sense of hearing has sharpened. I can hear everything around me. I can hear every single creature going silent around me, but some of them are less silent than others, and sometimes I can get the drop on them as they hunker in place. These changes, they keep changing me, but maybe with these changes I can make it. Time to roll at the end of the day. 5 or 6, I get to decrease it. That is a 1. That is not a decrease. 6. Oh no, you don't want a 6 on the card draw. Just for everyone's awareness, if you get all 4 of the kings, if you draw on all 4 of them, you die upon drawing the 4th one. So, 3 of clubs. I've begun to sleepwalk. The first time I do it, I wake dangerously close to a plummeting drop. How do I prevent myself from straying from the safety of the camp? Pull from the tower. 3 of hearts. You pass an old church, the stained glass windows shattered, and the wooden doors hanging off the hinges. Were you religious in the before times? What about now? Do you think that anyone was ever really listening? Pull from the tower. We are down to 15. As you might be able to guess, hitting 0 is bad. 3 of spades. Wow. I hit 3 in a row of the same value. The heat is nearly unbearable. Sweat drips from you, and the moisture draws nearby insects to your skin. The insects are much too large, with pincers that bite bite through flesh, seeking the blood within you. They begin to swarm, biting as they move. How do you try to get rid of the bugs? Are you successful? Pull from the tower. 9 of diamonds, which would be a mutation. Your skin itches as if there's something squirming just below the surface. Try as you might, scratching only leaves your skin red and angry. It feels as though you just can't scratch deep enough. How do you alleviate the itch? Pull from the tower. 6 of clubs. You cannot remember your mother's face. You cannot remember your mother's voice. There is only one memory of her that you can recall with any clarity, but you feel it slipping through your fingers. What is the memory? Do you hold on to it, or do you let it slip away? An ace of diamonds, which is the ace of mutations. You find yourself possessing a physical strength that you've never had before. What causes you to notice this? How does your newfound strength help you? Put it to the side where you can see it. The next time you would have to pull a card from the tower, you may choose not to, then discard this card. Okay, so 3 of clubs, 3 of hearts, 3 of spades, 9 of diamonds, 6 of clubs, ace of diamonds. Okay, so I woke this morning too close to a cliff face. This hunting in my sleep has gotten way too dangerous. I've started treating myself like a bag of food when you're camping and there are bears nearby. I've started hanging from a tree. I found my legs become incredibly tired, running in the air, I assume, as I'm sleeping, but it's the best I can do. I don't want to die in my sleep. I want to at least know where I fucked up. I want to see my own death. I know that's morbid, but I can't just fail and not know what happened, not know how I failed. I was scavenging today and I found an old church and I thought about praying, thought about going in and asking for forgiveness or for these mutations to stop, but if there's anything up above, it would have answered by now. I never really thought there was anything up above, and now I know there isn't. If there was, it would give me some respite. The heat was nearly unbearable today, and bugs swarmed me, biting, pinching, tearing into me. These things were undeniably strong, and I had to throw myself into muddy, dirty, possibly contaminated water to try to get away from them for just a second. When I emerged from the other side of the body of water I threw myself into, they were still trying to get at me, but so fewer of them that I could finally swat at them and deal with them. But I can't keep fighting things. I can't keep pushing my way through things. Who knows what happened? It feels like these bugs, they may have put something under my skin, some sort of parasite. There's itching underneath the surface. I can't reach it. I can't deal with it. I've tried my best to ignore it. I've tried everything. I know that slicing won't do anything, and the most I've been able to do is singe my own skin, and that alleviates it for a second, but I can't cover myself in burn marks. I'm already changed enough and scarred enough from these changes as is. I can't do more of this. If that were the end of the day, that would make it easy, but while trying to find an alleviation for this itch, I tried remembering what my mother told me about these things. I can't remember a single thing about her face, her voice. Not a single thing of hers comes to mind. I felt my only memory of her slipping away today. I was at a park. There was a wooded patch of trees nearby, and my mother pointed out to me some deers feeding at the edge of the woods, looking at us. As I continued to play in the park, the deer slowly moved closer and closer, and the deer slowly moved closer and closer, and right at the moment where I thought as a child, oh, I could probably run up and pet them, they turned and dashed all the way back to the woods. My mother laughed as I tried to follow them, telling me, if you chase after something, there's a good chance it'll keep running from you, and it's hard for you to catch something if you don't know where it's going. As I bound myself in my camp, as I bound myself to a nearby tree and covered my head with a bag like some sort of prisoner facing execution, I found myself having to create the knots stronger, do more rope ties as my strength, another mutation, another change. I've become stronger stronger and more able to push, but I'm sure it'll help me during the day, or rather the night when I'm hunting, but I'm afraid of what might happen if I run into someone. Let's roll for tracking progress. That is a 6. We are down to 8. 8 should be right there. Day 8. Speaking of, 5 cards. Ugh. I need to be pulling fewer cards. 10 of hearts. A plastic toy truck sits lonely on the sidewalk. Its child never returned. Did you once have plans for your future? What did you want out of life? Does it pain you to think about that now? 10 of spades. Is this another 3 of the same card number in a row day? There is smoke rising in the far distance, the sky gray with ash. What do you think caused the fire? Jack of hearts. You stumble upon skeletal remains, blown out buildings, abandoned cars, and crumbling infrastructure surround you. But this is the first evidence you've seen that humankind didn't simply vanish off the planet. Why do you think these are the only remains you've been able to find? Where do you think the others have gone? Pull from the tower. We are now at 12, which changes the mechanic to represent the tower becoming more frail. If I have to pull from the tower from now on, I will roll a d12 and subtract that number from my total, which is now 12. So there is a chance the next pull from the tower is the last. 9 of clubs. Even when you sleep, you wake feeling exhausted as if you haven't slept at all. You nod off at an inopportune moment, causing injury to yourself. Oh, that's not good. And 5 of diamonds are mutations. Your joints have been aching for days. The pain feels similar to when you were young and going through growing pains, but it has been a long time since you last felt that. Why do you think the pain has reappeared? And yeah. So, let's go through what happens to Johnathan, who forgot his own name. I found a toy truck today on the street. Its child no longer with it. I hoped one day to not start a family, but be part of a community. I wish I could have assembled the pieces of a community, but now I just need to find one. I need to find just a single person. I need to find signs of other people still alive. I saw smoke rising in the distance in the direction I'm tracking. Hopefully that's some idiot human setting something on fire. With my luck, it's an idiot human setting something on fire, killing the last of them. But I must keep going. I have to keep going. If I don't keep going, I'll end up like the skeletal remains I found. Blown out buildings, abandoned cars, and crumbling infrastructure. These are the only actual human remains I've been able to find. I've been tracking ghosts, leaving nothing behind. These people at least left something behind, but they were wiped out just like I should have been. But here we are, tracking ghosts, hoping that whatever I find is human. Maybe they're like me. Maybe they're like whatever I am. Maybe they're like me, but Lord knows if I'll ever find them. I'm starting to lose hope. I can't sleep. The nightmares, the trying to sleepwalk, the trying to sleep hunt. I wake up feeling exhausted and tired, and I dozed off while crawling over some rubble, and I woke up and my wrist had fallen, and my wrist is badly damaged. I can barely write today, and if I'm being honest, I don't think I'm gonna write anymore. I feel these pains, these aches deep in my bones. The same thing I felt when the horns emerged, when the teeth grew, when my feet turned into hooves, but stronger, but heavier. This is something different. These are growing pains. My body is about to fully change. I don't think I can search anymore for those people. Not because I don't want to find them, but because I don't want to inflict them with whatever I'm becoming. To whomever finds this journal, be careful, because I'm out there somewhere, and may whatever gods you believe in protect you if I become what I think I'm becoming. You know, they don't actually say at all what happens when your tower falls. Interesting. Yeah, the closest it comes to saying what happens when the Jenga tower falls is it says, if the Jenga tower falls, comma, space, period. They probably meant to put you die, but I'm going to say that's the end of the journey. Well, that was Darling Amongst the Dust. Pretty fun storytelling game. Not a whole lot of RPG elements. You do get boons that build up over time. but, well, it's very much a storytelling game, very much a journaling game. It can explore some really fun, really interesting themes. I won't say fun themes. These weren't fun themes, but interesting themes. Isolation, body horror, hallucinations. It covers post-apocalyptic stuff, like some body horror, that kind of stuff. I'll probably put a warning at the start of this episode. From what it says in the end, it's very unlikely you win. You're more likely to die than win at any point. It's basically mathematically impossible, or just mathematically very difficult for you to win. There is a win, of course. The Ace of Hearts unlocks your win path. So if you hit that early and then you just keep rolling like 5s and 6s, if you hit that, you hit the other ace and then you roll 5s and 6s at the end of each day and 1 for your card draws, you can win. But that was Darling Amongst the Dust. That was the story of, he forgot his own name, but it was Johnathan Stanton. Very funny that I come up with a name and then very early and it's, you forgot your own name. Oh, darn. Very good for a journaling game. I don't think it would need many more elements as a journaling game. Journaling games don't need to be mechanically heavy. Bloodless was a journaling game, but also featured some mechanics, so that's why I gave a critique of the mechanics. Here, I think it's fine the way it is, and you can have fun with it. You wrote it in a journal, so then this journal is inherently this character's journal. But the next time you play, you could be another person who stumbled across the journal, and you can build this sort of thing of these people all writing about the previous person's experience, trying to reach the end. So, a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed listening to me going through it. If you want to support us, like I said, social media is the best way to do it. If you want to get this game, like the last game, it's on itch.io. I will drop a link in the description. Not much else to do other than wrap up, so we appreciate every one of you. We appreciate all our listeners. Make sure to like and share on social media, because that's the best way to get the word out there. We really do appreciate that. And as always, make sure to tip the barmaids.